Hello, and welcome to that Money Lady podcast with me, Audrey, your friendly money lady. Today, I want to spill the tea and talk about balancing profit and purpose. It is a fine line, my friends. And it's getting, I feel like for small business owners, it's washed, like it somehow gets washed around with what mega corporations are doing. And I don't find that very fair. Because it's very, very clear mega corporations and bad actors within our society are choosing profits over people in very damaging and painful ways. And that's not okay. I am one of the first people to raise my hand and be like, that's bullshit. I don't like it. That's unethical, immoral. I don't care if your purpose is only to make money. You don't get to diminish other people to do that. That's my stance. You might have something different, but that's where I stand. And because there's so much information and knowledge and awareness around that happening in our society and how capitalism is choosing to act, it gets applied to small business owners, at least what I've seen. And it's not always fair because you're just doing the best you can. And I truly believe that. And yes, there are going to be bad actors even in small business ownership, but for the most part, it's people just piecing it together and doing the best they can. And sometimes it's from the knowledge doesn't align with their actions to take that step to do what they're wanting for their purpose or their mission. Sometimes it's they just made a mistake. If you have ever said something that wasn't right or made the decision and you're like, okay, that did not work out. That wasn't right. That's a learning experience, and hold grace and love for yourself for making a decision and taking that next step and learning through the process. That is growth, and it can be painful, and I don't want to diminish that, but I'm proud of you if you did that. So there and so that situation, that balance is getting applied to small business owners, and it's not always fair. And I'm just here to spill the tea and talk about it, because the more we talk about it and share experiences and understanding and awareness, the better we'll be. In my opinion, we're here to change the world. As business owners, in some sense, we're here to have our freedom, bring our gift to the world and our vision to the world. Even if you're trying to do something for your small town and you're like, I just want to make sure that my town gets the art studio, and you want to bring your beautiful art to them. I think that's beautiful and amazing. And we need more of bringing our beautiful, heartfelt gifts to the world. And it can be even just like for me, mine's helping 10,000 entrepreneurs and making our tax code not suck as much. That's my mission. That's my goal. That's my beautiful gift. So beauty is going to look a million different ways. I'm sure some of you heard that and are like, that's not beautiful, but I think it's beautiful, and that's what I'm here to do. And everyone's vision is going to look differently. Sometimes somebody might just want that beautiful beach house and live in Costa Rica, and that is their beauty. That is what they're trying to accomplish, their own personal beauty. And that's what makes our world go round, my friends. That bring your beauty, bring your vision to the world so that we can all have a better society, hopefully. Because there is a lot of bad actors, and why I want to talk about balancing this profit over purpose, or profit and purpose, not over, because when I want to encourage you that every decision you make, try and take one step back for a second and figure out what is, and remember, what is your purpose? What is your mission? What is the legacy you're wanting to leave the world? And then make that decision, the good, the bad, the ugly. And that way you start building that muscle and building those pathways to always be making aligned decisions. And sometimes those decisions aren't going to pan out. Like, you're left with two really shitty decisions. That's unfortunately going to happen. And you just have to take one of them. And it's always in your best interest to take the one that is most aligned with that purpose, that mission, and that vision without diminishing others. I think that is the caveat and that sweet spot that we don't talk about enough is, yes, you're important. You are very important. And particularly women, majority of which moms struggle with putting themselves first. And if you struggle with putting yourself first, this is not for you. I'm saying if you're only ever putting yourself first, there are other people around you. You are a part of a collective, a society, a world, a community, and we all need to do this together. And I also want to say that sometimes you do have to take the selfish decision, and it's really important to hold grace for yourself if that's something that you never wanted to do or you don't feel good about, because sometimes that's just important. And I don't want to diminish that in any capacity. And so all of this is to say that we balance a lot as entrepreneurs, especially if you're an entrepreneur who has employees. That is another level that can be very tricky to navigate. And when you start navigating it with purpose and direction, the decisions can be easier to make. And especially because you have that clear direction, you know where you're going. So everything just starts to fall in line. Not always all the time and not always all right away. Ask me how I know. It's a wild ride, y'all. And you have to prioritize all of it. That's what being an entrepreneur means, is holding space and leadership to do it all the time. And I do want to caveat that you shouldn't be holding it by yourself. Ask for help, reach out, be like, okay, who in my network will have the experience or the knowledge or the willingness to hear my plight? Reach out, talk to people. The more you talk to people, the more you open up, the more you expand your horizons and your capacity to receive information, because we're social creatures. We're not meant to do everything alone. Our brains lie to us sometimes. Have any of y'all experienced that, where your brain is just lying to you? And it can be difficult to navigate. And that's why you need somebody else to come in and be like, hey, this is what I see. From my experience, this was easier because XYZ. And when you have that laid out and when you have that information, it makes taking that next step better. Because there's sometimes, like, how many times have you been in a project or something and somebody just comes by and points out something so obvious and you're like, how did I not see that? Thank you. Dang it. And it's okay. We're human. That's what it is. Like, that's just part of being a human. And why it's so important to talk to people, open up, be vulnerable, be transparent. And that is also a tricky line. You can't see, I'm somebody who I don't have the normal boundaries that most people seem to have, for right or wrong. Ask me questions. I'll tell you if I feel like that doesn't feel comfortable for me. I'll tell you that and we'll move on with our conversation. And I know that that's really not the case for some people or most people. And that's okay too. So there is that balance of what do I share without oversharing? How much can I give to this conversation? Because if you're deeply struggling with your finances, it's probably not the best to go deep into that with your employee. You're still the leader in that situation. Yes, be vulnerable and open and honest if you have to like go through layoffs, let's say, or you have to cut hours. I do recommend, and I believe you owe that to the employees to tell them why and what's going on a I don't want to say surface level because that's not the right words, on the like umbrella sort of way, like the surface level of the information. You don't go into all the nitty gritties. You still need to instill faith in your vision and your dream and that next step, while also being vulnerable and transparent. That's doesn't that sound fun? It's a balance, and I don't want to diminish how hard it is, which is why it's important to open up and talk to more people. Entrepreneur circles are great for that. And from what I've learned, your bookkeeper accountant is great for that. I've heard anything and everything. And I think I am so grateful for how much people do open up to me, because it's hard to know who and what to say and how to open up. And I think that's the beauty of being the person who deals with the money is I know. Just look at the reports. You don't even have to really tell me anything. I know. And so that's what allows entrepreneurs to open up to accountants generally more than most other people. And it's still a good idea to open up to who you can, where you can, because that's when you start to fill in more gaps that you might have missed. Because again, our brains do crazy things, and it's not always in our best interest. And so when you start to hear somebody else's perspective, you're like, it gives you that chance to work through what they're thinking and what they said to you and see if it still applies to your situation. It's okay if you don't take their advice. That is totally okay. That is your right. It's your business and your path and your vision and your purpose. But it's still in your benefit. Y'all, if you haven't got on yet, talk through your issues. You're not alone. Open up, because you're here to make your purpose in the world. And there is that delicate balance between profit and purpose, and that balance between purpose and people. And it's all this beautiful teeter-totter of life that we're trying to navigate. And it's a new way of navigating. And most of the time, unless your family was very, very entrepreneurial and you're an integral part of that, then you might have a little more experience, or you probably absolutely have more experience. And I think that's beautiful. You have that leg up, you have that experience. And still reach out when you're struggling, because our monkey brains, they do what they want and they lie to you. And sometimes situations change, and it's always a good idea to get a fresh perspective. So that's what I have for you, my friends. I've now recorded this 3 times, once because I just didn't push record. I'm brilliant that kind of morning. So I hope y'all have a lovely day. I have an exciting drum roll. I don't know if you can hear that. I am building a quiz to help you guys feel empowered with your finances, know what your financial success strategy is. I think it's amazing. It's so much blood, sweat, and tears going into this. I'm really excited to bring it to you guys. It's going to be incredible. It should be coming out shortly, and you can check it out and really start seeing what your financial success strategy is. And I look forward to telling you when it comes up. And as always, thank you for spilling the tea with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.